Welcome to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes, where we take the history of the West off the rails.
If you like your history unhinged, you are in the right place.
I'm Shea.
And I'm Jody.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole. In the dim light of a smoky crib, some say whispers of laughter and perfume still linger, even though the soiled doves who plied their trade here have been gone for over a century. In the Wild West, hard living and sometimes harder dying left its impression on a place that sometimes you can still sense. Today, we descend into two dens of desire that became chambers of death. The Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona still echoes with gunshots and the ghost of the women who met violent ends there. And far to the north, in the icy streets of Skagway, Alaska, a restless spirit still wanders the dark halls of the Red Onion Saloon. Pour a drink, dim the lights, and follow us into the shadows. If you dare. Dun, dun, dun. I even wrote that in my script.
Because I always do it.
Today, we are going to take a haunted tour of some of the brothels I've visited on my travels. First, let's head to the dry and thirsty town of Tombstone, Arizona. Tombstone has seen its share of blood. Just about everyone has heard of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, who battled it out with the infamous cowboys of the Clayton Gang. A year before the Birdcage Theater was built, Marshal Fred White was accidentally shot by the cowboy gang's leader, Curly Bill Brocius? Curly Bill. Right in front of the...
Curly Bill B.
Bill B.
Bill B.
Right in front of the empty lot that would soon hold the famous theater. The marshal's spirit is still said to haunt the street today. Yeah, feel free to give me ghosts. This is a spooky episode.
I can't think about it. They come just
oh, natural. Okay,
I don't automatically.
I don't want to force you to woo.
Yeah, it'll just come out noises.
The Birdcage Theater is one of the most famous brothels in all of the Wild West. It was opened on December 26, 1881, by Lottie and William Billy Hutchinson. Billy had dreams of opening a theater like the ones he'd seen in San Francisco, with their throngs of well-heeled patrons and wholesome, family-friendly entertainment. Billy even tried to implement a ladies' night, where the respectable women of the town could come and enjoy the theater's offerings for free.
Were they? Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert, ladies weren't lining up for the free tickets.
I was wondering, I'm like, did I miss something that was...
Well, because it was originally established to be wholesome.
Oh, got you.
Family friendly. But Tombstone wasn't a sophisticated town.
No.
It was a rough and ready mining town, and these weren't highbrow men. They wanted entertainment, not art. So, Billy was forced to give up his finer ambitions and hire more lucrative performers, like vaudeville performers, magicians, and comedy acts. One notable performer was Mademoiselle de Granville, also known as the female Hercules with the iron jaw. In her shows, she would lift heavy objects with just her teeth.
Wow.
Another popular show was The Human Fly. Women dressed in tight black clothing walked up the walls of the Great Hall. It was eventually canceled when a prop malfunction caused one of the women to fall to her death on stage.
Oh,
Talk about a tough crowd.
With a crowd. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. After the performance was over, the chairs would be pushed to the side of the hall and people could dance all night. So back in the day, a good part of entertainment in the Wild West was dance halls.
Yeah.
And they weren't necessarily anything untoward. You would go and dance.
No, that's what community, right?
Yeah, it was, and you had fun. You drink, you dance, hopefully with somebody attractive, but didn't always have to be.
Probably not going to smell good no matter what, but
yeah. Oh, and don't forget about the booze, gambling, and of course, women. In Tombstone, that was the Holy Trinity.
Winner, winner, winner.
The basement of the Birdcage Theater was a poker room, and along the wall were what they called bird cages. Upstairs were hotel rooms. The Birdcage Theater hosted poker games and was home to the world's longest running game, which ran from 1881 to 1889. It ran 8 years straight, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Heavy hitters like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday even took a few turns. But what the Birdcage was most well known for was rowdiness and sex. The evidence of the rowdiness can still be seen today. You can still count the over 140 bullet holes that riddle the walls.
Wow.
In the lobby of the building, there hangs a painting of a nimble belly dancer who appears to have 2 belly buttons. But alas, one of them is a bullet hole.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just say that's not a piercing she consented to. So not only could you watch a show, play a little poker, and get so liquored up that you thought a little Russian roulette sounded like fun, you could also pay a lovely lady of the night for her company. Lining the upper balcony of the room were 14 boxes or bird cages, where $25 would get you a view of the show, a bottle of whiskey, and an erotic dance.
Whoa.
If you wanted a little more time with that lovely lady, you could rent out one of the rooms upstairs. Convenient.
So they're in a bird cage dancing.
So they're
or not.
It's like
a box.
It's balcony boxes. They call them bird cages.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. I actually did not go inside. We didn't have time, so I'm not exactly sure how they're set up. But there are pictures that you can see online.
Okay.
As we know, sex work in the Wild West wasn't a good time for all. The women in this field were often abused, poverty-stricken, saddled with disease, and with only the bleakest future in sight.
Trapped in circumstances.
Mm-hmm. The Wild West was less romance under the stars and more STDs and stray bullets. Women wore out quickly, and once the bloom of youth was off the rose, many of these women had little choice but to turn to the streets or volume houses, servicing dozens of men per day to earn enough money for a meager meal and a bottle of laudanum to numb the pain. Sex workers were not considered to have the same value as respectable women, and therefore violence against them was almost always unpunished. As far as ghosts go, at least 26 people have died in the theater.
Wow.
Performers have lost their lives during performances, fights led to shooting deaths, and a number of the ill-fated sex workers took their own lives out of sheer desperation. According to the new owners, many of the people who died in the theater still linger to this day.
Still trapped in their circumstances.
Yeah. That would suck.
I wish I could host them here instead. Can be a ghost here. I'll take care of you. We can have a good time.
If you were to haunt somewhere, where would you haunt?
Oh, gosh. Like, do I want to haunt them to torture them, or do I want to haunt that place because I'd like to just hang out there?
A place you would want to haunt. If you were to be stuck in a place for the rest of your life, you could not impact any change on it. You just had to hang out there, watch other people move through their lives there. You could occasionally get up to some Dickens and scare people, which would be probably fun as a ghost. Where would you haunt?
That is a very good question. So I think I'd want it to be somewhere with longevity, meaning if I'm going to haunt for a very long time, I want to see people coming through a lot. I don't want to go big, long periods of time where like nobody shows up. So
not a business in Graham is what you're saying. Right. Sorry, that was because there's this one strip mall on Meridian when I'm driving to my mom's house, and this one place in the strip mall is just almost constantly something else. And there was a cidery that was there for like a couple of months and it was gone. I was like, oh, we gotta visit the cidery. Never visited. It's gone. And so I'm just like, yeah, Graham is cursed. Don't haunt Graham.
Yeah, I want, a continual parade of human beings that I can be entertained by if I'm going to be stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be not an atrocious place. It wouldn't be the brothels, that's for sure. I mean, could I be next door to the brothels so when I really am feeling bored, I can go watch that stuff go down? I don't know.
No, you can't leave your establishment. So you're stuck with the entertainment of the people there.
Oh, and gosh, I'd have to do more research about who's already haunting there. Because, like, if you watch the show Ghosts, you could be trapped with these people.
Oh, God, yes. I love that show.
So I got to make sure. I don't know. I'd want it to be entertaining.
What about, like, the Fifth Avenue Theater? Because you could watch shows.
Oh, you could watch shows. And there'd be a lot of people coming through all the time.
And there's probably ghosts there, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could hang out. Oh, and we could put on theater while no one's there.
Mm-hmm.
We could just do our own theater all the time. I mean, that might work.
That'd be a good one. Yeah. But would you get?
Can I look out windows? I don't really want
You
to
can
be
look
stuck
out
inside.
windows.
Okay.
But you can't leave.
I'm feeling trapped
You
already.
can't go next door. I was trying, as I asked you this, I was like, God, where would I go? And the first thing that popped into my mind was the ramen museum in Yokohama.
Oh, and why?
Okay, so first off, you could smell the ramen.
Like
the
Is
ghosts.
that good or bad? Yeah, they do like to smell food
Uh-huh.
on that show. And I'm thinking, that feels like torture.
And
Like, you can't eat it.
I don't know if I've shown you the pictures of this place. They recreated like a small scale town from the 1950s, like wartime Japan.
Oh, wow.
With all these alleyways and like cool lighting and all these props and stuff. And so it's like a studio lot almost inside this building
wow.
where you go and you can try ramen from all the different locations in Japan. You get like a little bowl. I only got 3 of them because 3 small bowls
I want ramen.
is, oh my God. I don't know if that would make your tummy feel better or worse.
If it was just broth, I was just thinking, just broth. That's what I really need.
But it's a really interesting place, and tourists from all around the world come through, so you could see people from all over. And I think that the back alleys of this inside place would be a great place to haunt people and scare people.
Yeah.
Because they're a little bit creepy when you walk through them. And then you can smell the ramen all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that would be where I'd go.
I'd also want enough, there'd have to be times where I could break out my haunting skills on people who deserve it. So I'd want enough of that also for entertainment.
Like somebody who's being a jerk in the theater.
And I want to scare them.
Yeah.
Just for my own fun, and they deserve it.
Well, within the rules of my place, is it just inside of a building that you have to be? Or could I haunt?
Can I at least the patio, the courtyard?
Could I haunt like the Himeji Castle and the garden next door?
Yes. The whole property. That's what we need as a big
place.
Or
like in Goji Temple. Could I just haunt the whole temple grounds? That would be fine. The spiders and bears and boars can't hurt me then. I'll be a ghost.
You could even hang out with them.
I know. Maybe I make friends. Okay. Anyways, back on to my story.
We have wandered off.
Where was I? Okay. So, yes, 26 people have died in the Birdcage Theater, and they think that there's ghosts there.
And was that all like in an era or like over 150 years?
It actually wasn't open very long.
Oh gosh, so just a short period of time.
as a
Got it.
theater, it was only open for a short period of time, and then it basically became like a store and then museum after that.
So during that short period of time,
in the 1880s. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. The most haunted area of the theater is considered to be the Great Hall. Visitors often claim to smell cigar smoke or whiskey or hear a ghostly singing.
That's where they're all hanging out.
Some people feel a cold hand touching their arm. Others hear footsteps. And occasionally, a table will rattle back and forth. Perhaps the most titillating of the ghost stories from the Birdcage is that of Margarita and Little Gertie, the gold dollar. Little Gertie was a fair-skinned little lass with long golden hair. She started out as a dancer at the Crystal Palace, but soon had men begging for her favors. It wasn't long before Little Gertie became Gold Dollar, either because of the color of her flowing locks or because a gold dollar was the price to spend a few hours in heaven with her. She was a friendly, easygoing woman and was one of the most popular soiled doves in Tombstone. She was feisty, though, and could be wicked jealous.
Oh.
All was well until shiftless Billy Milgren started showing up at the Crystal Palace to play poker. And shiftless Billy Milgren was part of his moniker. I didn't just make that up. Gold Dollar fell for his tight little mustache and beady eyes. And seriously, hold on. I got to show you this picture. And you'll be like, but why?
And beady eyes.
Yes. Okay, I'll have to show it to you later. But he's got this little mustache and his eyes are so close together. He's not an attractive man. I'm so sorry.
He's like an accident that lived.
But maybe.
I do not know where that came from. That popped out. I didn't even think that through.
Oh my. You're terrible. Shame. I don't know. He was not much of a looker, but maybe he was packing a 357 in his pants or something. I don't know. So whenever Gold Dollar had a free moment, she would steal away to his poker table and fawn over him and kiss on him and sit in his lap. But then Margarita rolled into town. She was tall.
I feel trouble coming.
Willowy, a Mexican beauty with
I
creamy
feel trouble
bronze skin and lush black hair. Sensual, graceful. She was hard to resist. She took a job dancing and, quote unquote, entertaining the men at the Birdcage Theater. Then one night, she laid eyes on shiftless Billy at the poker table and decided that she needed to get her mitts on this small-time gambler.
She needed to shift him.
She figured that with her good looks, she'd have no problem getting Billy up into a box. She knew that Gold Dollar fancied Billy as her man, but Gold Dollar was a tiny thing, no match for the larger Margarita. She started flirting shamelessly with Billy every time he stopped in at the Birdcage. But what Margarita didn't know was that Gold Dollar had friends at the Birdcage who reported back to her about Margarita's attempts to steal her man. So one fateful night, determined to get Billy up into her crib, Margarita plopped herself down in Billy's lap at the poker table. Now, not much is known about how Billy reacted, but I can imagine that there might have been a little bit of hanky-panky going on. Gold Dollar had been tipped off that Billy was in the Birdcage canoodling with Margarita and stormed into the theater. She saw Margarita rubbing herself all over Billy, with Billy enthusiastically responding, and Gold Dollar snapped. In a fit of rage, she grabbed Margarita by the hair and pulled out the double-edged stiletto that she kept stashed in her garter. She threw the larger woman to the floor and plunged the knife into Margarita's heart.
I was just going to say, I feel like a ghost making is coming.
Now, a lot of stories say that she carved her heart out, but
that seems like hard to do.
It seems time-consuming.
Yeah.
And with people watching, they're just standing around letting you do it?
I guess you could do it if you knew what you were doing. You could, and they probably knew what they were doing back then. Because if you go under the xiphoid process,
tell us how it's done.
You wouldn't run into bone. Like if you reached up under the sternum.
Oh, she was like,
yeah, and then you could reach in there and you could get it. But you wouldn't have to go through the
There's people all around. I don't think she has time to carve her heart
stunned.
out.
What would they could be standing there stunned, or what's the era? They're all like, yep, that's Tuesday.
Exactly. 1880s. Yeah. So during the pandemonium that ensued, Gold Dollar slipped out the back door and was gone. A doctor was called to the Birdcage, but it was too late for Margarita. So he bellied up to the bar for a shot of whiskey.
I was going to say he had a margarita.
Right? Oh my God. Margarita was buried in Boot Hill. But some think that her spirit, and maybe even the spirit of feisty Gold Dollar, wander the Birdcage to this day.
I can't believe you didn't find the time to go in there. We're going to have to go back.
Yeah, we had the Titan Missile Museum, and you had to buy tickets for a certain time.
Oh, it's timed entry.
Yeah. Now, of course, there is a lot of doubt about the veracity of this story. It's definitely not verified, but has become legend at this point, and I think anybody from Tombstone would probably fight you if you tried to say it wasn't true.
Like many stories, I'm sure.
Yep. And it's one of the stories that you can hear today if you visit the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona. The building has been a museum for decades, run by the Hunley family. Over the years, the family, staff, and visitors have experienced strange events. In one tale, a dice table that weighed several hundred pounds was mysteriously moved in the night, right in front of a door with a sign that read, "Don't disturb our 26 resident ghosts."
Oh, no.
Although I think that's very bold of them to assume that there's all 26 people that died there are haunting the place.
Yeah, probably.
The table is so heavy that it took 8 men to move it back. People report hearing disembodied voices laughing and talking, and the sound of dice being rolled and cards being shuffled. Some people have even reported seeing ghostly apparitions in old-fashioned clothing wandering the hall, such as a ghostly stage assistant in striped pants holding a clipboard. So Jason and I visited Tombstone this spring, but unfortunately didn't have enough time to go all the way into the Birdcage Theater, just visit the lobby. But from everything I've read, it sounds like a worthwhile expense for some great history and even better stories. So if you find yourself wandering down the dusty streets of Tombstone, Arizona, make sure you check it out.
How far is that from Phoenix? Driving wise?
2.5 hours.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, because it's like almost, sorry, buddy. It's almost like 2 hours to Tucson from Phoenix. And then it's another like half an hour south of Phoenix or Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we journey to the far north to the tiny town of Skagway, Alaska, let's take a little break for a word from our sponsors. Hey there, it's your girl Shea. Real quick announcement. At the very end of this episode is another installment of our bespoke Patreon fan fiction. If you want to be the star of your very own story, all you have to do is join our Patreon. Not only will you end up getting your own piece of bespoke fan fiction inspired by one of our episodes, but you'll get ad-free episodes a day or two early, bonus content, and more. Head on over to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support to check it out. Or if you want to order your own piece of custom fan fiction for yourself or a loved one, we're willing to do that too. That service is available on our Patreon, which you can access through rainydayrabbitholes.com/support. Thanks again to all of our supporters. Now, on with the show. Welcome back. And remember, if you want ad-free episodes and bonus content, plus maybe some bespoke fan fiction, you can join our Patreon, where you get ad-free episodes early, bonus content, plus whiter, stronger teeth. It's true. Just ask RFK Jr. He never lies about that kind of stuff.
Maybe we can just get him to do an ad for us.
Yeah, you don't need fluoride. You just need our Patreon.
Or vaccines. Or science.
Yeah, just our Patreon. It's fine. Don't vaccinate your children.
It's the healthiest thing you can do is join our Patreon.
Make them join our Patreon. It also keeps ghosts from rearranging your furniture. Helpful. All right. So let's hop into our 1984 Suburban and hit the road. Jody, do you have some coloring books and snacks? It's going to be a very long drive from Tucson to Alaska.
Of course. I'm a grandma.
We are headed north into the frozen frontier. Skagway is a tiny saltwater port on the Alaskan Panhandle with a population of about 1,240 people, which doubles in the summer to handle the huge influx of tourists from cruise ships. The name Skagway is the English version of a Tlingit idiom, which refers to rough seas and a pretty woman. The town was founded by white explorers in 1887 who were looking for gold. Captain William Billy Moore and his son claimed a 160-acre homestead, built a cabin, a sawmill, and a wharf in anticipation of future gold prospectors coming through. And boy, howdy did they. In 1896, the Klondike Gold Rush began when gold was discovered in the Klondike region of Canada's Yukon Territory, where you can get a cocktail with a toe in it.
Yes, you can.
We're going to do it someday.
That is
my dream.
Middle of nowhere.
Thousands of hopeful miners flooded into Skagway over the next year, and lot-jumping prospectors overran Billy Moore and stole his land. By 1898, in the general area, the population exploded to about 30,000 people, with 8,000 residents in Skagway and around 1,000 prospectors passing through each week.
Wow.
With the population of Skagway fluctuating between...
I feel like that's what happens now with the... I'm probably off, but with the cruise ships and stuff,
Yeah.
like it seems like...
But they're not
That's a
staying
lot
there.
at that time.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, think about it. The population now is 1,200 people.
Right. That's crazy to think of that number.
30,000... Well, the general area was 30,000 people, so 8,000 people in Skagway alone in the 1800s.
That's insane.
Yeah. 1,000 prospectors passing through per week.
Yeah, having been there and seeing
how tiny it is.
Yes, that's where our friendship was burgeoning.
Cemented. It's probably cemented there.
At the Red Onion. Just kidding.
We were like, we're not paying for that.
I was like, I want to go in, and everybody else is like, no.
I wanted to as well, but the boys were poopy. We need to go do more vacations,
Yes.
just you and me. With the population of Skagway fluctuating between 8,000 and 10,000 people, it became the largest city in Alaska. That's crazy. Skagway. Little tiny Skagway.
That is, I mean, yeah, again, having been there, that is
1898. Yeah.
stunning.
To serve the thousands of miners flooding into the area, a town sprang up. Essential services like outfitters, stores, and saloons soon lined the small main street, along with lodging houses and, of course, brothels. One of the most famous and notorious bordellos in Skagway was the Red Onion Saloon, built in 1897 and opened in 1898. Captain William Moore helped to build the brothel. It had 10 small cribs upstairs, each with more than one exit for the working girls to ply their trade. So they had multiple exits so they could escape.
Interesting.
Downstairs was, of course, a bar and a dance hall, and the lounge where you could pick your lady for the evening. They had an interesting way of letting prospective customers know if a girl was available or not. They had 10 dolls that represented each of the 10 sex workers. If one of the ladies was picked, that doll was laid down. When she was available again, the doll was seated upright.
This feels a lot like pull tabs. You know, somebody's playing that pull tab, you can't play it, so they put a thing over the top.
Right? Oh my God. At the time, the cost to obtain a lady's services was $5, and $1.25 was kept by the sex worker. Now, you might think, wow, that's not a lot, but maybe if you account for inflation, it wasn't as bad as it seems. No, it's bad.
Yeah, that was not even 10%.
That's about $48 for you to have sex with a probably dirty and quite possibly violent minor.
Right.
Though I would imagine that there was a time limit to that. So maybe it was like you get 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And you better do your I don't know. So maybe it was like an hourly rate in the end.
Got it.
Because if you could push through one person through hour per hour, $48 an hour is not a bad wage. It's pretty good.
Right.
But volume in that line of the work is a different matter. That's gross.
Right. Do as much as you can, as many as you can. Paid by the piece has a whole different.
Yeah, gross. Anyway.
Different impact. Anyway.
Yeah. Today, the Red Onion is a restaurant and museum. You can pay a modest fee. From what I remember, it was like $10.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was just, we only had a certain amount of time.
Yeah, because we were there on a cruise.
And that wasn't the bar they wanted to go to. We had to go to a distillery.
I know. And an employee dressed as an old-fashioned good time girl will lead you upstairs to see the cribs and some of the items from the gold rush and tell you the stories of some of the ladies who live there and might still live there.
Yeah. Or live. They may stay there. They don't live there anymore. They're not alive. They stay there.
Thank you. Padant, 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 padant. Serve you right. All right. One of the busiest ghosts of the place is Lydia. She was either a madam or one of the sex workers at the saloon, although sometimes sex workers would become madams.
I was just going to say she worked her way up. She's
both.
probably both.
Right. The scent of strong perfume will still linger in the air, and when you walk through the cloud of aroma, you will feel extreme cold. One time, workers heard a disturbance on the upper floors where there was supposed to be no one, so called the police to check it out. As the officer reached the stairs, he saw a figure run down the hall and into the room that was once Lydia's room. When they got to the room, no one was there. And apparently, Lydia is helpful as well and will water the plants in the building.
Oh, that would be... I need a Lydia.
I know.
I can't even have plants.
They say sometimes...
I'm irresponsible.
I know. Sometimes the soil will be damp when no one has been there to water.
It's not
I
fair.
could really use that, yeah.
It's not fair.
The Red Onion only operated for 2 years as the gold rush's focus moved away from the Klondike and up to Nome. After closing its doors, it had many lives: an army barracks, a laundry, a bakery, a union hall, a television station, and a gift shop. Jan Rentmore moved to Skagway in 1878 and fell in love with the old building, buying it around 1980 and opening it as a pizza restaurant and bar, but then eventually lovingly restoring it to its former glory.
Wow. And what year was that?
She bought it in 1980.
Oh, 1980. Okay. Mm-hmm.
She says it was the first place she visited when she moved to Skagway, and in fact met both of her husbands, both named Denny, there. And in 1980, she was the only female bar owner in the town and one of a tiny handful of female business owners. The place became famous for its entertainment. Beach nights would include actual sand on the bar or in the bar until the janitorial staff complained.
Enough. Oh my God, can you imagine cleaning that up?
It would host mud wrestling, animal costume contests, and drag shows decades before drag became more
what she's doing.
mainstream. Yeah. In 2024, the Red Onion changed ownership, purchased by restaurateur Tracy Labarge from Juneau, the owner of Tracy's King Crab Shack. She lived in Skagway back in her youth, frequenting the Red Onion and working Skagway's popcorn wagon. It's been a long time dream of hers to own the Red Onion. And at the farewell party for Jan, the previous owner, many partygoers left red onions on the tables as party favors.
Oh, so there's a new owner since we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
Now, if you've never been to Alaska and haven't said, we should go, this is your sign to go. Yeah.
You dropped right off right there.
Yep. You can often get great deals out of Seattle if you're willing to go shoulder season and do a more last minute trip like Jody and I did a few years ago.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Skagway was a delightful experience. Oh, and fun fact, Call of the Wild was filmed there.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's it for our little exploration into some of the haunted brothels of the Wild West.
Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun. And now I want to go back. Now we're going to have to take another Alaskan cruise. Now I got to go back to Arizona.
Well, like I said, we should do a road trip.
This is why I got to quit my job. I just have to get in a motorhome or something. Oh my God. Can you imagine rainy day rabbit holes with it on the side of our Sprinter van? While we travel around.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
Seeing these sites. We could go live. Look at me dreaming.
I love it.
We need you to join our Patreon
so we can afford to do this. Exactly. So this spooky season, remember, when you step into one of these old saloons, you might not be drinking alone.
Ooh. That was not a digital sound effect. That was me.
I couldn't tell. Thought it was a real ghost here with us.
It was. I was possessed.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining us on another rabbit hole journey. And don't forget, we can always use your love and appreciation and support because it makes us feel worthwhile. So you can go to Apple or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. Maybe say something nice about us on Apple. We like that. On Spotify, you can actually leave comments on the episodes. Maybe you say if you like the episode. If you didn't like the episode, let's just pretend it never happened.
You can email. Don't make it public. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is I have to review your comment before it goes public, and I'll just delete it if I don't like it. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's a thing. I may
sensitive.
as well not bother ever. I don't leave comments. But.
Anyway, rainydayrabbitholes.com is where you can go to find our blogs, more information about the podcast. And if you go to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support, you can find links to our Patreon. And again, a big thanks to our friend Letha Davis at leathadavis.com. She's the one who is in charge of making our website look so much better than I ever did.
She's like a genius and an angel all wrapped into one.
She is. And a wonderful person and fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
So
lots of love for Letha.
So yes, thank you, Letha, our website wizard, our mistress of marketing. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time with another spooky episode. And
see you down the rabbit hole.
Welcome to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes, where we take the history of the West off the rails.
If you like your history unhinged, you are in the right place.
I'm Shea.
And I'm Jody. Let's fall down the rabbit hole.
This week's Patreon fan fiction is from my friend Doug Holbrook, and I bet this one is going to make him blush. If you want your own bespoke piece of fan fiction where you are the star, join our Patreon. Not only will you get a custom story where you take center stage, but you get bonus episodes, ad-free and early episodes, and even free merch at the higher levels, if you remind us. Just head on over to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support to sign up. And if you don't want to join the Patreon for some strange reason,
silliness,
you silly people, you're so silly, you can actually purchase your own bespoke piece of fan fiction. So maybe you have somebody who has a birthday coming up and you want to give them an individual and really amazing and unique gift. Well, all you have to do is head on over to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support and you can purchase a story. You'll just fill out a small form with some details that you want included in the story. And maybe you pick an episode, or you tell us if you just want us to pick an episode, and we will create a piece of fan fiction for you. Now you have the option of it being part of our podcast feed, or we can deliver that audio and script directly to you so that you have a great gift for somebody.
I'm pretty excited about this. This is a fun initiative that you've come up with.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah. And I've always wanted to involve our listeners more, and this is a really fun way to do it.
Well, and I got to tell you, writing these little pieces of fan fiction has been my favorite bit of writing that I have done since we started this podcast. And maybe it's because I can just make stuff up. I don't actually have to check and
being accurate
research.
is not a thing you have to worry about.
I am playing fast and loose with history, timelines, physics.
Based on a true story.
Right, exactly. So today's episode was inspired by one of our older and drunker episodes, episode 16. I didn't order boobs in my coffee. The history of Starbucks and the coffee wars. And remember, Jody, we used to drink champagne in your office before we had a studio?
Yes.
And we used to do 1 bottle per episode.
Yes.
So this was episode 3. We were on our 3rd bottle of champagne. We were very drunk.
I think at one point we thought we were going to have a podcast where we just got drunk and talked about things, and that would be fun.
Yeah, we were going to be drunk history, but
and that probably wouldn't have been too bad. But then we got really into like, oh, that's a really interesting story. Oh, I want to make sure I'm accurate. Oh, let's talk to a historian. And then we took ourselves more seriously. I mean, that we're still fun, but we are less drunk. We are still crass, but we are no longer drunk through our episodes.
We are, definitely less drunk.
I think we were going with drunk history is where we were headed.
Yeah, but the problem is I don't think we're as funny as we think we are when we're drunk. And I know I'm not. And I also get very shrill and pushy, and I talk over people when I'm drunk, which is just annoying. So I get very annoying when I'm that drunk. So just FYI, it is a good episode. Jody did a great job on it. There's a lot of good information, and we are funny through most of it. But
it's a pretty funny episode just in the content.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
I do apologize for me. Anyway.
I find you entertaining.
Thank you. Anyway, so this episode was chosen at random and is dedicated to Doug Holbrook and his lovely and amazing wife, Marcia.
I can't wait.
And here we go. The Pacific Northwest has been an incubator for many cultural phenomena. Here was the birthplace of grunge, outdoor couture, socks and sandals, and the summer beanie.
Not much has changed, I don't feel like.
But probably the most wide-reaching and profitable trend is coffee culture. Back in the day, coffee was boring, utilitarian. It was black, strong, served in a chipped porcelain mug, and gave you a little pep in your step.
Yeah, but it was 30 cents a cup and free refills.
True. But that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't enjoy it as much.
Exactly.
No, I think I drank a lot of it, though.
You didn't drink it for pleasure.
Yeah.
You drank it to wake you up or maybe sober up. It wasn't until the 1970s that you could even get something more exciting than a drip in the P&W. The opening of the first Starbucks coffee in Pike Place Market in 1971 marked the beginning of a coffee revolution in the United States, when Howard Schultz turned his study abroad into a multi-billion-dollar idea. By the 1990s, it was all about the venti hazelnut latte, and Seattle was the perfect place to enjoy it. In December, it feels like there isn't much difference between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. So anytime is coffee time.
I think that's true. Every day of my life.
If you grew up in the PNW, chances are you had some connection to coffee culture. You either drank it or pushed it like cocaine. I myself was a barista at the tender age of 17, scoffing lattes and scones between customers, and Jody even owned a coffee shop. Almost everyone here has labored in some way for big coffee. Enter Doug Holbrook. Smart, ambitious, imaginative. He'd been working his way up the ladder of academia for the last 15 years, and let me tell you, it was brutal. He'd graduated 3rd in his class from University of Washington, but being great at economics didn't make you the most popular. He could out-debate just about anybody on the roll of incentives, but it didn't lead to many dates. Surprisingly, being able to hold forth about the virtues of the Phillips curve didn't make you a babe magnet. And it didn't help that the best job Doug could land was teaching economic principles at the tiny Highline Community College. He felt that it lacked the gravitas and respect of a university professor, but at 22, he had to take what he could get. The spoon-fed brats that he attended classes with at the University of Washington were always throwing parties at their parents' waterfront mansions in Laurelhurst, bragging about their new yacht or the 3 weeks they just spent in Europe. There'd always be some professors from the university there, and Doug would rankle at the attention the tenured snobs got. These numbnuts didn't even know the differences between the Hicksian and Marshallian demand curves. Idiots.
Fools.
Ask them to describe the difference between hotelling's law and hotelling's rule, and they'd probably stare at you like a monkey doing a math problem.
It's just so simple.
Jeez. But they still got all the girls. Doug would nurse his Aperol spritz in the corner of some dusty Victorian drawing room and grind his teeth, fuming as he was ignored again.
Poor Doug.
But then, one fateful day, he met Marcia. She was a fiery and brilliant minx who worked for the Port of Seattle commissioner. It was crazy, really, how they met. It was another drab fall day in Pike Market, and Doug was waiting for his vanilla steamed milk at the Starbucks there.
He doesn't even put coffee in it?
He's sensitive to caffeine.
Oh, got it.
The girl in front of him, wearing a pumpkin orange corduroy jumper. I swear, I think I had one of those.
I know. I see it. I can picture it.
Shapeless.
Yeah.
With a pocket, right? On the
yes,
breast.
definitely.
Yeah. And big buttons on the shoulder straps. Yeah. Not to be confused for our friends across the pond. It's not a sweater. It's a dress that goes over a shirt is a jumper here. She was flirting shamelessly with the barista, who had extra shaggy, sexy sideburns. As she laughed, she flung her long hair back, simultaneously turning, and slammed her venti hazelnut latte extra foam right into the middle of Doug's chest.
Doug's so lucky, extra foam. That's a lot less liquid.
It's true, maybe it was less hot. The drink instantly soaked his favorite tweed cardigan with the leather elbow patches. Scalding hot coffee began to dribble down his body to the crotch of his tan trousers.
No. Oh, no.
Making it appear as if he had wet himself.
Oh, no.
Marcia laughed and shrieked at the same time, causing the shocked and slightly scalded Doug to laugh helplessly himself. Then, Doug found himself blushing furiously as Marcia grabbed a double handful of Starbucks napkins and began to aggressively blot at the spreading brown stain on the crotch of Doug's pants.
Marcia.
Doug, a horny 22-year-old man,
Oh, no.
felt the old trouser mouse begin to twitch and almost in self-defense asked for her number.
Oh, my God.
Giving up on her attention to his lap, she thrust the soggy napkins into his hands, whipped out a felt pen, and wrote her name and number, plus a heart, on Doug's paper cup, then amazingly gave him a fleeting kiss on the cheek and flounced out of the cafe. Doug stood there stupidly, paper cup in one hand and dripping napkins in the other, mouth open. He recovered his composure, went home to change his pants, and wrote her number on the pad by his telephone.
Pad by his telephone. Still on the wall.
Exactly.
Okay.
With the curly cord. And you know that telephone was olive green or yellow.
I that's how I pictured it was green. Yeah.
Yeah. The next afternoon, he gathered his courage and called Marcia. He was delighted and rather surprised when she agreed to meet him down on the waterfront Saturday evening. They strolled along the boardwalk. He bought her a clam basket at Ivor's. And at the end of the evening, Doug found himself elated when Marcia stood on tiptoe to kiss him. Doug's very tall, by the way.
So sweet.
That's all it took. He was all hers. They were married the next year and settled into marital bliss in a modest home in the little burg of Normandy Park. They joined the tennis club at the Cove, had campfires on the beach, and were even invited to join a cult. You got to go back
in a mid-century modern. Was that how you describe that? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't remember
the house that the cult leader lived in it's a very cool house.
It was the first thing that pops in my mind.
Yes.
Thinking about it.
You guys have to go back and listen to our episode about religious sexy time in Normandy Park about the sex cult that was in Normandy Park in the, I want to say it was 80s and 90s. I can't remember. Anyway, that's the cult that they were invited to join. I'm going to say they didn't join it because they're still married.
Good job, Doug and Marcia. Stay away.
Marcia had her sights set on the office of the executive director of the port, and Doug was happy enough to plug away at his modest teaching job at the community college and support Marcia's career ambitions. He dutifully accompanied her to office events and picnics, content with playing sidekick to his own spicy superhero. Marcia's success also gave him a reason to brag at the inevitable UW alumni parties. As few
Alumni?
Yes.
Alumni?
At the inevitable UW alumni parties.
Are we illuminating them?
We are illuminating them. As few of those schmucks had wives as impressive as his. Did I say schmucks correctly?
I don't know. What's the origin of that word?
I think it's Yiddish.
That's what I was thinking. But I didn't want to. I'm not that smart.
Same. But after a few years, Doug began to grow disillusioned with his second fiddle role. After the birth of their son, some 5 years into their marriage, Marcia went back to work, and Doug found himself as Mr. Mom, teaching 2 classes per week and taking care of their child the rest of the time. Those parties, when they could find a babysitter so they could go, began to cause a growing resentment in Doug. He needed some way to make a name for himself, something that was all his, something to give him bragging rights. But what?
What?
As he waited in the drive-thru for the bored but gorgeous barista to hand his half-calf soy latte over to him.
So he's moved to coffee, but half-calf.
He's got to work his way up. He's sensitive.
How many years later are we here? 5, 6?
5.
5.
He had a light bulb moment. Coffee. Drive-thru coffee kiosks were beginning to pop up all over the place. Lines of commuters, desperate for caffeine on their way to work, willingly forked over $4 or more for the privilege of having someone else brew their morning joe for them. It was practically a license to print money. All he needed to do was get it going, and it would just about run itself.
Yes.
Right, Jody?
Yes, absolutely. They just run themselves.
But he needed something to set his coffee kiosk apart. Other stores had cute names in bright-colored paint and flags to tempt travelers. Or perhaps they were lured by the offer of free muff with the purchase of a coffee drink of the day.
Free muff. Inside joke. Go to the episode. You'll hear why.
Then one day, as he surreptitiously eyeballed the completely inappropriate cleavage of the dean's secretary, he had it. Sex sells.
It does. It does.
And sex could sell his coffee.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Doug got to work. He made up a business plan, analyzed the costs and benefits, found a coffee supplier, and signed a contract with a local retirement home to place his kiosk in their parking lot. He recruited employees from the perky young students at his school. He even designed a uniform. The young woman would wear a tight, cropped cardigan with leather elbow patches, breasts pushing up from its buttoned V-neck line like biscuit dough, and a short,
oh my God,
pleated, that's what boobies look like, it's biscuit dough coming out of the can.
Oh my God.
Sorry. And a short, pleated plaid skirt, falling just short of fully covering nubile, round buttocks. All baristas were supplied with faux horn-rimmed glasses to complete the look.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on biscuit dough coming out of the can. I was picturing it like in a bowl.
Like when you're going straight. When you whack it, so because you have to whack the can of biscuits to get it to pop. So we always called them whack-ems growing up.
Oh, that's funny. Whack-ems.
But yeah, think about it. When you whack that can of biscuit dough, it splits and it kind of pushes up. That's boobies.
Yes, squishing out of a bra. Yeah.
Marcia was, especially at the Ren Fair, I can tell you, so much biscuit dough cleavage. Wow. I'm just jealous.
All different stages of rising.
I put on the corset and I am flat as a pancake. There's nothing squishing out of anywhere. Okay. Marcia was fully on board with Doug's exciting new plan. But there was one problem. He hadn't told her about his coffee kiosk's naughty twist. He had described his business plan and profit and loss projections to her in excruciating detail, but had failed to supply her with the crucial detail about his new operation.
He forgot the main piece.
Right.
he forgot to tell her the selling point.
Honey, I'm going to start a coffee kiosk. It's going to be great.
It's fine. It's fine.
He figured that he could break it to her later, after the business began to turn a profit, because then it would be harder for her to get mad.
Suddenly, it's fine.
He agonized over the name. What would fit his little enterprise the best? Double decaf? Java jiggles? Cup of melons? And then he had it. bean flickers.
Oh my God. Bean flickers.
Opening day was quite an event. He strung streamers featuring bikinis and coffee beans all along the street leading up to the Early Bird Estates retirement home.
Oh my God.
Tall flags adorned the sides of the brightly painted kiosk, each one with a silhouette of a buxom lass. A bright sign welcomed horny commuters to drive up for something hot, creamy, and a little bit steamy. The first 100 customers would get a breast-shaped cookie along with their morning latte and morning wood. Before long, the line of cars reached back over a block, causing a local traffic cop to grumpily chastise Doug, only to be appeased by a free latte, a boob cookie, and a glimpse of Candy's round bottom.
Oh, is that her name, Candy?
Yes.
I got it.
Doug's naughty espresso stand was the first of its kind, causing a sort of riot in the up until now stuffy and highbrow coffee culture. While most coffee shops charged $4 for a latte, Doug was able to charge $8, which his hot and bothered customers happily forked over, all while drooling over the perky boobs straining against their tight tweed. In just a few short weeks, Doug was practically rolling in the dough. His girls were making at least $200 to $300 per shift in tips, and it wouldn't be long before he was able to pay back his initial investment. He was almost floating with happiness over his instant success. Even the retirement home was happy, as the new favorite pastime of the elderly male residents was to crowd around the front window, cheering every time the barista slid her tiny window open to reveal her ripe wares.
I'm just picturing all these guys. Yeah!
Raising their cane up over their head. Yeah! And even better, now when he attended the snobby parties on the shores of Lake Washington, he was a bit of a celebrity. The entire male population of the economics department knew about his naughty new enterprise and were huge fans.
Oh, yeah. Now he's popular, huh?
He had finally earned the respect and admiration that he had so longed for. But then, one fateful morning, it all came crashing down.
Oh, no.
Marcia was curious about her husband's
hot
new business and decided that she'd ought to check it out. So, while Doug was at school, teaching the next generation of economic geniuses, she loaded up their young son into his car seat and set out in her sedate burgundy minivan. She was a little shocked at the long line of cars leading up to the kiosk. It was 10 a.m. Shouldn't everyone be at work already?
Break time.
She was also confused by the name of the shop. What was a bean flicker? Do they throw coffee beans at you or something? She wedged her trusty old van into the line and crept up to the window. She watched in amazement as the huge tip jar, created from an empty industrial-sized keg of cheesy puffballs, filled up with cash. These people were tipping astronomical amounts of money. And why were they all men? She hadn't seen a single manicured hand reach out of a driver's side window, only masculine hairy mitts. Finally, it was her turn. She turned to pull her wallet out of her purse that was sitting on the floor of the back seat and didn't see the small frosted window slide open. She heard a distant cheer. Wow. She turned back around. Or the old fogies. Her double decaf Irish cream latte with extra foam order on her lips. Instead of ordering, she gasped. Instead of an appropriately aproned young barista, she was visually assaulted by bouncing boobies.
Oh, poor Marcia. I've been there.
They pushed up and over a straining tweed cardigan with leather elbow patches, strangely familiar, and a button just below the perky breast threatened to pop at any moment. Below the clinging sweater, the young woman's navel gleamed with a gaudy faux diamond, glinting above a flirty plaid skirt that didn't fully cover the bright red panties underneath.
The pubis bone is visible.
Her pubic mound. I just hated that. It's like a catcher's mound? Pitcher's mound?
Definitely, yeah.
Can I get you something hot and steamy? The woman asked, winking and smiling. Marcia couldn't respond, just opened and closed her mouth like a fish out of water. "Oh, can you wait just one moment?" the girl asked, and turned to help the customer at the small window on the other side of the kiosk. When she turned around, Marcia could see just about the entirety of the young woman's round bottom, cleaved in half by the bright red thong.
Cleaved in half. I can't.
As she turned back to Marcia, her son shouted, "Boobies!" from the back seat, shocking Marcia back into action. "Put on some clothes," she yelled as she put the van back into drive and peeled out of the parking lot, kicking up gravel in her wake. Fuming, she sped back home, plopped the kid down in his playpen, and furiously paced the small kitchen. How could he keep this from her? It was a violation of their sacred trust. A few hours later, she heard the garage door go up and the clunk of his station wagon door. Doug opened the door from the garage to the laundry room and was shocked to see Marcia standing there, her face a storm of fury. Before he could say anything, she thrust something into his chest, knocking him back a few steps and into the garage. "You can go sleep in your filthy coffee hut with your hussies. I didn't order boobs in my coffee," she shouted and slammed the door. Confused at first, Doug looked down at what she had pushed into his hands. It was his favorite tweed cardigan, the one with the elbow patches.
Oh, no.
Recognition dawned on him. "Oh, crap," he muttered, and buried his face in the sweater. Resigned to his fate, Doug set about closing up his wildly successful business. He sold the espresso machine to Mary Keller, who opened up her own shop in Bremerton in 1999, Naughty Latte, where the baristas sported pink hot pants. Not long after, in 2003, Cowgirls Espresso opened up in Tukwila, and Bikini Wednesdays drew a steady stream of horny caffeine lovers.
I bought my first car from her. Actually, her dad, because we're the same age. We went to school together.
So I had to put it in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Doug feels a hot flush of disappointment every time he passes by one of these wildly successful titty shacks, he knows it was worth it. He was a lucky man to have a woman like Marcia, and if shuttering his business meant keeping her happy, then c'est la vie.
He must love Marcia.
He does.
That's sweet. This is a love story, not a coffee story.
And that, my friends, is the tale, probably completely untrue,
Probably.
of the very first bikini barista espresso shop in Washington State. All thanks to one very naughty economist with a very good idea.
Yes.
The end.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I hope Doug enjoys it as much as I did.
All right, Doug, you're probably going to have to share this one with Marcia.
Definitely share it with Marcia. Give us a review. I loved it.
And I hope I didn't make you blush too bad. I kind of did that on purpose because
Have you ever watched Fargo?
I've made Doug blush before.
Oh, have you?
So because I know Doug he's been in my bar class, him and Marcia, since Normandy Park Athletics. So since when did I start teaching bar there? Like 2015. And I was teaching pop Pilates and then teaching bar. And we used to do this move where we would lay on your belly and you'd put the Pilates ball in the middle of your chest. And I would say, because I knew all these people well and we had kind of a good relationship, it's right between your nipples. You should know where that is because everybody has two nipples. Unless you've been in a tragic accident with a snapping turtle. And I would always hear Doug laugh because I'd say, and if you don't have two nipples, I want to see.
So you've already had a nipple relationship with Doug and Marcia.
I have. I've had a nipple relationship with
Boobs
Doug
have
and
been
Marcia.
a topic that you've discussed before.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
I've made Doug blush for many years.
So just to continue the tradition, nicely done, Shea. I'm glad that that random choice of episodes matched up so perfectly. I love it.
So also just to clear things up, Doug actually was a professor for University of Phoenix, but I just thought it would be more fun to have it be a little local community college.
Yeah.
And Marcia did work for the port commissioner. She was very successful in her career. And Doug often says that the secret to a happy life is a happy wife.
Yes.
And he just does what she says.
So there's sprinkles of truth in this
Yes.
tale of fiction.
Exactly.
I love it.
And yes, they still love each other very much after all these years.
Well, congratulations, Doug and Marcia.
So anyways, if you enjoyed that little piece of fan fiction, you can have your very own. If you're a patron of the show, you can email me at Shea, SHEA, at rainydayrabbitholes.com. Send me a little info about yourself that you want me to use in the story. Otherwise, we're just going to make it up. And if there's a specific episode that you would like to be the star of your piece of fan fiction, you can let us know. Otherwise, it'll be chosen at random. And again, if you're not a member of the Patreon, but you still want your own episode, you can go to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support. And there will be a link there where you can sign up and fill out a little bit of information. And you can just pay a one-time fee to have your own bit of fan fiction, maybe for yourself or maybe for a unique bespoke gift for a loved one.
Yeah, I was thinking this is going to be a really fun initiative that you've come up with. Especially like as a gift to someone. Here's something. It's my daughter's birthday. She really likes this. That episode was really fun. Can you? And that's so fun.
Yeah. And so I think we should do that. And I have the most fun writing these episodes. So.
And you're really good at it.
Thank you.
Put Shea to work.
I have a really fun time being very dramatic and dry, and then putting in what little bits of cheeky humor I can.
What was I laughing at? The meat? No, the
bean flicker?
The red thong. What was it doing to the butt?
Cleaving her buttocks in half.
Yes.
Because it does.
I would never put those words there. That's so hilarious to me.
Everyone has a crack in their ass. It's something we all share. I'm sure there's people that are born with their buttocks fused together, and that's probably terrible. How do you sit?
You suddenly want to spread.
Get your butthole in contact with the cushions. Okay, we're in here now. All right. Ready?
Yeah. See you down the rabbit hole.